Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the Screenwriting Step-by-Step Project, Volume 73. My name is Glenn Gers. I am here every Monday through Friday, if I can be, at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to walk you through my process for writing a script, a TV drama pilot in this example, from a rough draft, from a rough idea to an outline to a rough draft to a finished draft. I let you look over my shoulder and share my screen as I do this in the hope that it will demystify the process of writing scripts, because it is mysterious, it is weird, everybody talks about it, but nobody shows you on a day-to-day, scene-to-scene, line-to-line basis how you do it. I am not saying this is how you should do it. It's not the best way to do it. It's not the only way to do it. It is the way I have done it as a professional screenwriter, TV writer for 25 years. So I'm just sharing in case it is of use. While I am here, you can also ask me anything if you are live. If you are not live, if you are recorded, if you are watching this when it is recorded, you can go to writingforscreens.com at any old time and click on Contact Me. It will open up a window which allows you to contact me. If for some reason you don't like windows on websites, you can just go to the comments right here. If you type a question or comment into the comments of a YouTube video that I made, I will see it and I will try my best to answer you. And that is the end of my boilerplate intro. Hello, Andrea. Oh, I have not seen you much. I got a message from you. Good to see you. Hi, Mally. Hi, Matthew. Hi, 99 Precinct. Hello, this is Kitschy. The gang's all here. Not all, but a lot of the gang is present at the moment to work together. That is what we are going to do. We are going to walk through the writing of a script. And that said, have I ever co-written a screenplay with someone? Not really. I have written on the staffs of TV shows, which means I was writing in a room, so I was co-writing with a bunch of people, but I've never had a writing partner. When I was in college, I once wrote a play with a friend of mine, and I still feel bad about that because I just I bulldozed it, I ran roughshod over him, and I took over, and I feel like that was not a good thing to do. And I apologize, John. I am just not much into sharing, although there's a couple of friends I would write with if a job occurred. But no, I ain't the person to talk about that because I don't know it. Let's talk about what I'm writing here for you, which is the outline, because we finished a scene. Do you prefer writing on your own? Yes, I do. I am of that nature. My whole thing about writing is how much I escape into a fantasy world, which that's just something I want to do on my own. Okay, so let's talk about this, because we have finished this scene. It is boom done. So we move it to the other side of So Far So Good in our outline, because now we are into this scene. Now this has changed a bit since I wrote this outline. So we got to figure out what we're doing. So I'm also opening up the text. I've got the text. I've got the outline. Here's the deal. At the end of the fight, I had Doskey walk out of the room. That was we wanted to close off this sequence, this set piece of a clumsy comical fight. And so now, but then in order to close it off, and also to put some menace in there, I did this little scene here where Doskey walks out and he calls Xena. And the point about that is that while he may have walked away, because he didn't want to kill these people, that wasn't the point. He is reporting to Xena we got a problem. Now, here's the thing. In the outline, I then cut to Xena and the others reacting to this news. And the point of that is to make Xena fly, to provoked. Now, why I'm correcting something that I'm going to then delete, I don't know. It's just what happens sometimes when you're doing a live stream. Okay, so I corrected the spelling of something I was about to delete. All right. So the point of this scene is essentially this. Yeah, we got a problem. Now, what this raises is questions I had here. Okay, it is the middle of the night. We don't need to know that. We know it. Come in after he has told us what happened. Now, the big question is, do we need to see this? Is this a case, as I've asked myself right here, is Doskey calling Xena privately, or is this an emergency Zoom meeting with the group? And I originally thought, oh, we should see the whole group reacting. I'm not sure that there's any point to that. All we're going to do is see her being upset. So I am wondering if this entire scene needs to be here at all. It does raise this question. How does Xena feel about Carl? In the series, what is the arc, the story of Carl, and of Carl and Xena, as I say here? So these are a lot of big questions. But the problem is, in the writing, I have kind of eliminated the need to raise them here. We see him saying, we got a problem. And then here we go back to back to Norman and Madeline. And then having the point about that scene is going to be getting him to get her into bed. And then I think we just need to see Xena leaving. We don't really need to see this stuff. I would like to have this be somewhere, this idea of seeing Xena's murderousness. But the truth is, this is not the time. We are really mostly concerned right here with Madeline and Norman. That's our main story. So I don't think we need to have this. I think he does call her privately, so that answers that. So I don't think we need this whole scene at all, which means I'm just going to cut this stuff out and put it into the overview, the big character question thing. And I'm going to just drop it here. So that we see, so that when I finish the draft and I go back to the overview, one of the things I'm going to try and do when I finish the rough draft, I'm going to read the rough draft, and then I am going to also make sure that the outline and the overview are caught up to all the things we have discovered when writing the script itself. The script is the point. The words on the page that other people will read are really the final point. And anything you're doing in these other documents is to support that, is to give yourself work for that. So when I get done with the rough draft, I'm going to conform, as you might say. I'm going to make sure that this outline reflects the script, because the script is what matters. So right now I'm just knocking that scene out. I'm going to have this scene where Xena heads out, which is the point. When Xena leaves, I'm going to put that here after we have dealt with Madeline and Norman. So now, we know that he's calling, we figure he's calling Xena. So we go back to seconds later, Norman and Madeline. And that means I can now look at this part of the outline and really start to think about what I have to get into this scene. I wrote a note to myself about picking up continuous after cutting away to Carl. Yes, I solved that. Okay, so now, this is just a note to myself. He should be somewhat battered. Oh, that's right. That's funny. The idea that in the fight he got somewhat beat up, and so they're trying to care for each other. I thought was funny. He also has to introduce himself. Like he has to, like she doesn't know who he is. She's never seen him. And then how is she? Right. Okay. So she is much more stoned than she intended to be. Let's make that dizzy, etc. He is somewhat battered from the fight. Okay. So then we put this there. Okay, and then he has to introduce himself. Right. So this is the big question. How do they end up in bed together? All right. So the first section of this scene is going to be them dealing with their immediate needs. She's kind of dizzy and stoned, and he's beat up. When they don't know each other, when this is a bizarre moment for them, and where it has to end up is lying there with his arm around her. And so the big question is, how do they end up there? And my point to myself was, in these green notes that I made to make sure that you saw, I'd been thinking about this the other day. I didn't want to skip it. I don't want it to be that she asks. I don't want her to stay, don't leave. It's not who she would be at this moment. It doesn't feel like... I wanted this to be one of those things where it's a totally practical issue of why they end up in bed together. A totally practical solution to what's going on. How they end up lying there together. It's a practical solution. Okay. So, all right. They're already they're in the house, so that's okay. There is only one bed. The question is, yeah. This is what I wrote. That she feels like the room is moving. She's dizzy. She's like, whoa. So he's just helping hold on to her, and then she falls asleep. Okay, that explains it. Okay, all right. So now I have a list of things I need to have happen in this scene. Look at this. This is what an outline is. I have a list of things here that have to happen. So I'm just going to, usually I would think about this more, but since I am performing here for you, I tend to jump right in, even though I have not really, like I would usually sit here for half an hour to an hour, sort of imagining this, sketching it out, but I'm like, oh my God, it's already been 15 minutes. I haven't written anything. They're watching. So, what am I going to say? Let's see what I can do. So the first thing is, he's somewhat battered and she is much more stoned. She's trying to care for him. So, like, okay. All right. So the last thing is, That is poor language in the dim, messed up living room. But for the moment, I'm going to leave it. Yes, that is exactly right. They end up in bed because they're both exhausted, and partly because she's right on the edge of falling asleep anyway, and once he's got his arm around her, he can't move. So that's where we're headed. But right now, okay, last time I saw them. All right. Norman hangs, so, the little voice on the phone says, "Do you need assistance?" And Norman impulsively hangs up, disconnects. He doesn't hang up, disconnects. Yeah. Very confused. Still. Hi. And then I'm going to move this because that's actually kind of more fun. Norman hastily just then looks at her. Uncertain. I'm sorry. Did you want to talk? I'm sorry. Do you need? Do you want? I'm sorry. You want me to call them back? I don't think I have to say this. All right. Madeline, what would she say to that? Okay. Yeah. So, I'm sorry. Do you want me to call them back? Because the point is, he broke into her place, so he is suddenly conscious that he's scaring the shit out of her. I don't know. Who are you? I don't know. You seem to be. I don't know. You've got the knife. I don't know. Are you afraid of me? Kind of. Are you afraid of me? I don't know. Trying to read it. You've got the knife. You afraid of me? You afraid of me? Kinda. You afraid of me? Kinda. How about... Kinda. Good. Yeah, that's good. You got the knife. You afraid of me? You afraid of me is really what you would say, but I'm not going to say. You afraid of me? Kinda. Good. Okay. To de-escalate. See, and now we get to this. Now, we have not done this yet. So, I'm going to move that and get to this. Yes, this is who's going to end up in bed. So that's what's fun here. Darkened. Okay, yeah. Well, are you afraid of me? Good, kinda, good. Norman Birch. My name is Norman Birch. Okay, so now I'm a journalist. I'm a journalist. I'm a reporter. I'm a reporter. I'm a reporter. I'm a journalist. Oh, he's a journalist. I'm a journalist. My name is Norman Birch. I'm a journalist. Came here because I knew. Not sure if he said that. I'm a journalist. I came here because, yeah, no, he'd say that. Okay, by the way, you guys are now currently seeing how I actually write because I'm sitting there muttering to myself. What do you say? Yeah, my name is. I try out the line as I am saying, I'm writing it. My name is Norman Birch, and I'm in character here. My name is Norman Birch. I'm a journalist. I came here because I knew Mr. Doskey was on his way, and I came here because I knew Mr. Doskey, and I didn't want you to get hurt. How did you know that? How did you know that? I see. This is my name is George. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm here. I just didn't want. I just didn't want Mr. Doskey to hurt you. My name is Norman Birch. I'm sorry I'm here like this. I just didn't want Mr. Doskey. Yeah, that's more of that's more of what he would say. Because what I want to do is have her ask questions which make his pose of journalism more and more ridiculous seeming. So if he actually announced himself as a journalist right away, it'll kind of spoil it. I'm sorry I'm here like this. I just didn't want Mr. Doskey to... who is Mr. Doskey exactly? And who is Mr. He's a meth dealer. Meth dealer. And I think user. And if you ask me, user. If you ask me, user. He's a meth dealer. And if you ask me, user. He's a meth dealer. And if you ask me, and user, I think. And user. Hey, hi, Natasha. Thank you. I'm really glad that you spoke up. It's great. I'm really glad that you are learning. I have to say, it is actually fun to show you guys this. And so thank you. Thank you. Yes, Matthew, yes, except I've already outlined the scene in a different way. This is, Matthew's got some ideas about one of those, it's called a Murphy bed, the beds that fold into the wall, incorporate into the fight scene, and then the fight, yeah. Yes, that would be cool. We've already got the fight scene and I feel pretty good about it. What I want to do is get them to the bed when he's being chivalrous. That's really the point, that he is going to be chivalrous and helpful. Right now, he's trying to not get stabbed. Matthew. Right. So that was, so, and right. And so he, and you know him how, and you know him how? This is a great question. I'm actually going to take a minute out to answer this. Do I feel that it is necessary to attend a school or program in order to write screenplays? No, I do not. There's times when it can't hurt. It depends on your financial situation because, frankly, schools and programs cost a lot of money. And the truth is, as with almost any art, here's the deal. With almost every profession, there is some kind of program which trains people to do that thing so that they are qualified, they're certified. So basically, like if you were going to be a dentist or an air conditioning repairman or any other thing, you go through a program because there are certain basics that the system, the state or the union or whatever has said, these are the things that, bottom line, everyone who's in this profession should know. And they train you in that. And when you can prove that you know those basics, that you are at least a basic dentist or AC repair person or accountant, whatever it is, you have to be, there's usually some form of test, and you also have to show that you took all these classes and all that stuff. And then at the end of that, they can certify you. They can say, this person, we're not saying he's a good one or a bad one. We're not saying that she is a, trustworthy. You have passed the test that shows that you have the basic knowledge. There is no such thing as that for artists. There have been certain times when there was. If you were a painter in France in the 19th century, there was a school system that you had to go through to be a painter. Anyway, for screenwriters, there's definitely no such thing because there is no specific set of, you have to know this and you have to know this. Everybody has a different opinion on what the basics are of creative writing. The reason that you would go is if you can afford it, you certainly will get some basics. The problem is, for my money, every single different program will tell you different basics. So coming out of a program only is good if that program is really fancy and well regarded. But truthfully, at this point, they are churning out so many people. it's a much less bottom line. Like if you graduate from cosmetology school, you can cut hair or do facials or whatever it is that I don't know what cosmetology is. But anyway, the point about that is the schools that train you in the arts can't guarantee that you know the basics. They guarantee that you know the basics they taught, but that does not certify you. It does not mean that you are then allowed to practice this art. You can practice that art starting today. Anyone can do it. I am self-taught. It took me a long time. It's hard work to be self-taught. Some people are better at that than others. If you do well with learning from a school, definitely, if you can afford it and if you can get in, I think that's fine to go, but it's not actually the thing that makes you a writer or not. What makes you a writer is putting in the work, the hours of practice and experience. In general, in order to write scripts, you have to write scripts, which means you have to write a bunch of them. You have to write 5, 10 of them. You have to read them. You have to study everything you can. And there's so many books now and stuff. And none of them will really help you if you don't do the thing itself. And honestly, if you're in a script school, you're probably not writing that many scripts, honestly. You probably could write more just taking the time and writing yourself. I am not saying that these schools are not valuable, but the question was, do you feel it is necessary to attend a program? And the answer is no. The thing is necessary is to write them and be comparing your work, showing your work to people, getting criticism. I am not a big fan of paid criticism. I offer it because I trust myself. So if somebody wants to pay me to read their script and criticize it, I will do that. I think it's better to just show it to a bunch of people randomly. People who are paid to do that often are they're just out of school themselves sometimes. So yeah, I mean, I there's so much to this question. You can self-teach yourself any art. There is enough out there. Certainly not any art. Maybe, I don't know, maybe like etching. You should go to a school. But for screenwriting, certainly for any kind of creative writing, yes, it will not qualify you. It will train you. And if you go to a good school and if you get lucky and if you and the school mesh, great. It happens sometimes, but it also doesn't happen sometimes. And so that my answer is, if you have the ability to teach yourself, then you should do that. And the way you do that, This Is Kitschy has got it down pretty much. Write scripts, read scripts, write more scripts. I would say with the addition of write scripts, show them to people, read scripts, write more scripts. Natasha, let me know if that helps you. And if you have more specific questions, let me know. But the basic answer I would say is any artist, any screenwriter, certainly, any creative writer, the obligation is on you. You can only prove yourself a screenwriter by writing scripts and getting better at that. And frankly, nobody gets it right the first time. My first script's terrible. And I'm talented. And they were pretty good, but they're terrible compared to what they needed to be. And so, yeah, the answer is try to teach yourself. Everybody is different. Damn, that's great. Self-taught, published author, started 3. Okay, good. Well, that's great. You started 3. You are doing good. What I would say is the trick about screenwriting is that it is both an art, which you can teach yourself, and it is a business, a profession, which is competitive and crazy and unreliable and very high stakes gambling insanity. I don't recommend it, really. You know, if somebody said, like, you have to be really strong and you have to be willing to devote yourself to it full time. It's like the Olympics. You know, like, people don't go to the Olympics by being part-time athletes. They have to give up everything. They have to find financing to train. They, you know, it is really, really hard to get to that particular sphere of creative writing. However, if you like it, like I liked it, I wanted to do it. Also, it was, how many years ago? 40 years ago now. You know, it was the 1980s when I broke in. There were a lot less people doing it. It was relative, in some ways, easier to do. Now, it's very, very competitive. The stakes are actually higher. It is worse now than when I started. And so, I don't know. There's a lot to talk about this. But I would say, Natasha, you go write them. Certainly watch all my videos if you can, on this channel, but also see what you can get. I personally like Sid Field's book. Hold on, let's type that. Sid Field screenplay. No shadow center. There we go. There is a book by a guy named Sid Field. This is an old book, but it's good. I would strongly recommend this one as a basic. There's a guy named Michael Hogue, who I understand is good. I read part of his books. Here's my problem with screenplay books. I have read parts of a lot of them. I read parts of John Truby. I read parts of McKee. I read parts of a lot of them. I find them frustrating because they are full of theory and criticism of, like they're saying, I have watched 50 movies and I see these qualities going through them, and therefore that must be how you write a script. That's literary criticism. It's not how you write a script. That's why I'm doing this, because how you write it is much more weird than how you understand it. So I would say, by the way, there's also, this is an interesting one. There's a video. I don't have this exactly right. There's a video by a writer named Michael Ardent. He's really good. He's a good writer. He wrote Little Miss Sunshine, and I don't know the actual title of this thing, but he made a video. If you just Google it, I'm sure Michael Ardent screenplay endings or something, you will find this. It's a really, really fascinating analysis of structures of 3 movies. He keeps saying it's not a formula. It kind of is a formula. Not every story will fit that formula, but it's still pretty cool what he did. And I would say that's definitely something to check out if you're interested in classic screenplay structure. Okay, cool. Excellent. So anyway, that's what I would say is I will continue to try and put out information on how to self-teach screenwriting, because I think it's important that one of the things is just break down what you like. Figure out what you like, because that's what you really have to learn. And that's what you have sometimes in schools, you have trouble because they like what they like and they believe what they believe is the key to success. You've got to find your way. You've got to find the thing you think it's worth doing, because that's really the question for any artist. You got to be able to put in the time and live with the possibility of failure. I always think how hard it is. Yes, that's right. I would agree with this. It is really hard to become a professional screenwriter. So frankly, if you can write any other form, I would advise it, because it is harder to break into the profession. You can't self-publish a script. The tricky thing is that screenwriting doesn't have a door to the audience. Like if you are a painter, you can go on Etsy or you can go on DeviantArts and just sell your art directly. If you're a screenwriter, you can't do that. And that's the crappy thing about screenwriting. So I would suggest, if you have any other form of narrative that you want to tell that you can get directly to the audience, fiction, make your own podcasts, plays, anything that's easier to get done, I suggest you do that. I'm going to go back for just a little bit to the script because I should. It's my job here. Okay, so group with him. I'm in a group with him online. What's cyber sleuths? No, web sleuths. Crime solving. The meth dealer is crime solving. What are you? A hitman? A hitman? You're welcome. Yes, it's probably true. If that genre is popular, if you're going to do like westerns right now, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Hard to say. But yes, generally specializing in something, whatever you like to do, try and do that. Okay. I'm actually writing a digital culture, an online culture. It's a long story. Yeah. I would bet that Jack Epps has some interesting stuff to. This is one of the big problems. Honestly, there are like 1,000 screenwriting books now, and you go broke buying them all. But at the same time, they are worth. See if you can get them out of the library, or whatever you can do to sort of check them out and see if it's really worth having. And then, or get used copies. That's a really, like you can find some like for like 50 cents if it's like a used copy. And that's the way to, especially with things like that, you don't know how much it's going to really be valuable. I would strongly advise doing that. Okay. So what we're doing here is this thing I said in the outline where he has to introduce himself and explain the, yeah. I don't actually believe in any of that. I don't actually believe it's a long story. Okay, so here's the problem. They've gotten into quite a conversation, and now I want to get to their battered and everything. And it doesn't seem like we can go from conversation to this. So I need to what I need to do, I think, actually, is interrupt like to take this conversation I just wrote, which is good, but I need to intersperse it with their other problems. Smashed in the doorway. She's holding a big... What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to go back and insert a level of damage to the, so that it will filter into the conversation. Smashed by the door. We've got some recommendations here. And yes, this is true. So just wanted to say that there are some people who have read and okay, let me just, okay. So yeah, there are I've heard that oh god, what's his name, the USC guy, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, and a lot of them are good, or they have good pieces. That's the thing. You know, sometimes you'll read a book and there'll be like 5 pages here and there that are like, oh, that's really helpful. That's really a good insight. So that's why I say, like, try and get them cheap and do a lot of them. Okay, so where's the next? Now I need to get it to where they're not just standing and talking, where he's excuse me, sorry, the kitchen. Actually, we're going to break this up. Okay, starts the kitchen. What's the wavering? Weaving. Okay, so interior George's. So what I'm trying to do here is, having written this delightful dialogue, I am trying to intercut the concept of needing first aid and needing to deal with this dialogue, so that it isn't just two people discussing crap. Okay, George's Kitchen, continuous. Yeah, I liked Michael Hogue. What I read, I thought was pretty good. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. I think he means the character. I hope you didn't mean that Michael Hogue his fingers were fattening. Okay, so there we go. I hope you can see what I'm doing here, which is I'm adding, I'm interweaving the dialogue with this new concern of theirs, which is he's going to say, hands raised. So I could just mind if I just. There we go. All right. So it is okay. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I figured that. Cool. Yeah. All right. Okay. And by the way, hi. Are we supposed to? No. Yes. You feel free. I'm not, as I've explained later, I'm not great at collaborating. That's good. Cool. So yeah. So I think, oh gosh, it's 3:55. I got stuff to do. So we will take this up later, but look at all we got. We got like 2 pages here. Well, page and a half. Yeah. Not bad. Okay. So let us return to this reality in which I say thank you all for contributing and playing along at home, as they say. And please, those of you who are interested in recommendations for scriptwriting books, apparently in the chat, there's a whole bunch of them. And so you should check it out, see what people are saying. You guys have probably read more screenwriting books than I have. My answer is always, read everything you can, study everything you can, and take from it that which applies to you, that which you find useful. If you don't find useful, you're not obligated. It's not like somebody's going to say, oh, you can't be a writer if you're not following so-and-so's rules. That's just not true. Thank you all. I see your positive comments and I'm really grateful. Go write something.